Hi guys, welcome back to my little corner of the internet where we discuss everything books and we encourage each other to read more. I hope you guys have been reading because I sure have. I'm here to discuss everything that I've read so far. So please grab your blanket and grab your beverage and let's get into it. So the first book I read was in January and it is Midnight Sun by Stephenie Meyer. This is basically Twilight, but from Edward's point of view. And for anyone who does not know what Twilight is, first of all, where have you been? So Twilight follows an ordinary girl called Bella Swan who moves to Forks in Washington to live with her dad. In this town, she meets a young man called Edward Cullen in her high school. Edward is mysterious and he has a secret. His secret is he's a vampire. They fall in love. And despite the fact that Bella is a literal snack for Edward, we get to see their love and see all the dangers that this love poses for them. So that's basically what Twilight's about. And I say all of this to say that Midnight Sun is the exact same story. It's a retelling of Twilight, but instead of it being from Bella's point of view, as in narrated by Bella, it's from Edward's point of view, narrated by Edward Cullen. I think this book was better than Twilight, in all honesty. I enjoyed it far more. So I think Midnight Sun is better for so many reasons. Firstly, Edward is just a more complex, dynamic narrator. Like Bella was very naive and like so obsessed with like Edward, whereas I feel like Edward narrating this story makes the story itself way more dynamic. We get to see a lot of Edward's internal struggles, and trust me, Edward has a lot of internal struggles. The main one being that he knows he's dangerous for Bella and he shouldn't be around Bella, but he just can't help himself and he just can't stay away from her. And this literally torments him and it's so entertaining to read. In Midnight Sun, their love story feels way more real. There's a lot more nuances to it and it's much more complex. In Twilight, I felt like Bella was like an obsessed teenager crushing real hard. But in Midnight Sun, Edward is like, you can really see how much he's in love with Bella. And he doesn't want to love her, but he can't help it. And he's trying so hard to protect her, so hard to be careful around her, but still trying to be himself. It just makes him so much more alive. Do you get what I mean? He feels more real. And then also I feel like Midnight Sun made me like Bella more. We learned so much more about Bella because like Edward asks her a lot of questions and she feels more realistic. I feel like in Twilight, Bella's one of those characters that she's not really any person, so you can easily slot yourself into her character, which I think is one of the biggest reasons why Twilight was so popular, is because you can, like, her character was a blank canvas and you could pretend to be Bella. Let's be real, if you were a girly pop watching and reading Twilight back then and watching it, you were slotting yourself as Bella. Let's not lie, okay, girl? It's okay, we all did it. I did it. So this Midnight Sun made her so much more real, and it was kind of like, yeah, she's got her own personality. It's not me, it's her. Do you get what I mean? In Midnight Sun, we get to see a lot of the backstories of the vampires, so Edward Cullen's family. We see how Carlisle and Edward met. It is talked about in Twilight initially, but it doesn't really go deep. I feel like Midnight Sun goes much deeper into how everybody met, how they all died. So you learn more about how Esme died, how Emmett died, how Edward died. You learn about Carlisle and more about Carlisle's time with the Volturi and how he works with them. And also we learn about Alice, and Alice's story to me is really interesting. Like, this book captures more about the vampires and that's way more interesting. One thing I really liked with this book was that, you know, Edward can read thoughts. I don't know if I mentioned that in the quick recap, but yeah, he can read thoughts, everyone's thoughts except from Bella. Brought to life all those little characters, so all those little high school characters, and it brought them to life more. We got to learn more about them, and it honestly made me like Edward more. Like, he's a bit creepy the way he watches Bella, but that's a discussion for another time. The threat in this book is James. From Bella's point of view, we always knew that Edward was going to save her, but from Edward's point of view, there was a sort of uncertainty as to whether he's capable of saving her, whether his family is capable of saving her. The dangers that James Victoria posed, were so much more highlighted in this book. So yeah, overall, I really liked Midnight Sun. And honestly, if you are a twihard, someone that loved Twilight when it first came out, like me, then you will absolutely enjoy this book. I wish this book was merged with Twilight, so we got to see Bella narrating one chapter and then Edward narrating the other. I feel like that would have been perfect, but you know, hindsight. But honestly, this is a 4 out of 5. It was so interesting. It's still flawed in many ways, but the writing has even improved. So yeah, get your hands on this. The next book I read was in February, and honestly, I haven't even finished reading it yet. It's not a DNF because I will come back to it, but it's none other than Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. This is it. I know everyone's heard about this book. It's good, but I haven't finished it yet. I've only gone up to part 1. I'm on part 2 and I had to take a little break. This book follows a man called Raskolnikov. I hope I'm saying that right, Raskolnikov. He's a student studying law, but he had to drop out and he commits 2 murders, and it follows his psychological state after he's committed those murders. And honestly, part 1, I devoured it. I read it so quickly. It was so intense and so interesting. I feel like the main character, his thoughts literally jump. So I was always on edge and I was always entertained and I really enjoyed it. And then when we got to part 2, it slowed down because now obviously the murders have been committed and he's sort of dealing with what I've interpreted to be guilt, being very introspective, thinking a lot. And I think the change in pace, I was not prepared for. I was expecting there to be like, okay, he's committed these murders. Now there's a police chase and there's this, there's that, he's in hiding. You know, I was getting ready for that. So when it changed, it just sort of threw me a little bit, you know? And yeah, like it threw me. I wasn't ready for that and I had to take a break from it. So I will be coming back to this book because honestly, it's very interesting. I've not read that much of it yet. So, but part 1 was really interesting. I can understand why a lot of people say this is one of their favorite books. I think it will be a very good book. And once I finish reading it, which will be very soon, I'll come back with my thoughts on it. So the next book I read in February was Animal Farm by George Orwell. This book is about a bunch of animals on a farm who overthrow their human owners, all in the hopes of creating a farm where every animal is equal. Unfortunately, the pigs take control, they become drunk with power, and a dictatorship is born. This book was written as a political allegory for the Russian Revolution and the rise of Soviet communism, and it shows how leaders like Stalin, who was represented by a pig called Napoleon, use propaganda, fear, and manipulation to stay in control. What's really cool about this book is that each animal represents a class in society. So the pigs are the ruling class, the horses are the laborers / working class, the sheeps are the blind followers, the owners, so Mr. James is the overthrown monarchy. So it's just really interesting and it's so thought-provoking and insightful. I would honestly recommend everyone to read Animal Farm. This book is actually still relevant today. It's warning against political oppression and how people in power use propaganda and the media to rewrite history. There's a famous line in this: all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. This is how they changed the first saying of all animals are equal. And then when the pigs became the rulers, they were like, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. So it's so interesting, honestly, so thought-provoking. I think everyone of any age should read this. This book is so intelligent. George Orwell does a fantastic job at critiquing totalitarianism. It shows that even the best intentions can be twisted when power falls into the wrong hands. But honestly, fantastic book. It's very short, very quick. So if you're looking for something to make you think and to get through it quickly, but you're still going to enjoy it, then read this. I really enjoyed this. 5 out of 5 stars. So finally, the last book I read, which was this March, was Chinua Achebe's No Longer at Ease. This is the 3rd book in the trilogy following Things Fall Apart, then it's this, No Longer at Ease, and then it is Arrow of God. No Longer at Ease by Chinua Achebe follows a young intelligent man called Obi Okonkwo who has gone to England to study, and he returns back from England to Nigeria to work as a civil servant. Despite Obi's success, he does struggle with tradition, colonialism. He struggles with the expectation from his family now that he has returned from England, and corruption, and also his own relationship with a young woman that he met while studying in England. The novel explores themes of cultural identity, corruption and bribery, and the complexities of modern life in post-colonial Africa. I really enjoyed this book. It's a very quick read, and I ate this up. I think I read this in like 3 days. I could not put it down. It was so interesting and very gripping. As the other books that I've read from Chinua Achebe, I give this a 5 out of 5 stars. I think every book in the African trilogy, in Chinua Achebe's African trilogy, is a 5 out of 5. It's so impactful and so inciting, and I've learned so much just reading this. I really enjoyed it. I think every character in each book was so interesting. This one's linked to Things Fall Apart. So when you read that and you read this, you see how they're linked, and that makes it even more exciting. It's like the main character is the grandson of the main character in Things Fall Apart. So it was very exciting to make that link. But to me, my favorite is actually still Arrow of God. That was so interesting. Like, I felt like I was literally watching Nollywood as I was reading Arrow of God. But this too was so good, and I learned so much, and I would honestly suggest that you pick this up and read this, and not just read this, but read the trilogy together. I kind of like read Arrow of God first, and I read this. I wish I read it 1, 2, 3, but honestly, still, I get it. I love it. I enjoyed it. And I think you would too. Things Fall Apart was written in 1958 and tells the story of Okonkwo, an Igbo leader whose life unravels due to colonialism and Christian missionaries. It symbolizes the destruction of indigenous cultures. And the second one is No Longer at Ease, written in 1960, that follows Obi Okonkwo, a Western-educated Nigerian, navigating the challenges of post-colonial identity and moral compromise, which is the bribery. And then the third is Arrow of God, written in 1964, who centers on Ezulu, a priest caught between traditional beliefs and British colonial rule, highlighted the struggles of leadership in a changing world. So honestly, together, the trilogy deserves a round of applause. 5 out of 5 for each book, and it's so impactful, and it addresses the clash of traditionalism with a modern world. What more can I say? Read the thing, read it. So guys, this brings us to the end of this video. I really enjoyed discussing everything I've read with you guys, and I can't wait to come back to discuss some more. I'm so happy that I've read this much already. 3 books by March, on my 4th book currently, not including Crime and Punishment, when last year I read a total of 8, and we're almost literally halfway, and it's not even halfway through the year. So come on, this is amazing. So that shows you that we can read more if we really put our minds to it. I will see you guys in my next video, where I'll be discussing some more books. And if you guys are trying to make a TBR list of any sorts, or trying to see what you should read for the upcoming weeks and months, then you can check out my 2025 TBR list, and also my 2024 everything I read in 2024 videos up on my channel. And yeah, make your own TBR list and share with me what you're reading. Please comment, like, share and subscribe. It means a lot to me and helps out a lot, and I can't wait to see you guys in my next video. So you guys take care of yourselves, stay hydrated, stay moisturized, stay fed, get in the gym, get your skin glowing, keep reading, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Mwah. Bye.